Hello and welcome to a look at the Hover Tank Harbringer assignment. So this is a final stand assignment, and like all final stand assignments it has the same basic requirements. You must be ranked 10 or above, you must own the final stand DLC, and you must have played on a final stand map. Now the HT95 Levkov only spawns on final stand maps, so those last 2 points are a bit mute. To complete the assignment, you must destroy 15 vehicles with the HT95 and spend at least 10 minutes in the HT95. If you complete both of those, then you'll get the HT95 Levkov dog tag. So the HT95 only actually spawns on 2 maps. Here on Hammerhead, it spawns at the back of A behind the warehouse, and it also spawns across the map at D by the double stacked building. It also spawns on Operation Whiteout, and it spawns here inside the B complex where the Levkov is actually made. And when it spawns it will appear on the mini-map, and it will also appear on the spawn map, and it has its own unique icon as a hover tank. So you can jump straight into it from the spawn, or you can wait for it to appear in game and then jump into it. And the first thing you'll notice about the hover tank is that it hovers, and that means it can move sideways, so the tank controls are different to other main battle tanks. A and D don't turn the body of the tank, they move the body of the tank to the left or to the right. To actually turn the tank you use the mouse, and that's because it has no turret. The only change you can make to the gun is elevation changes, moving the mouse up and down. So it's a bit trickier to manoeuvre than a normal tank, and it's a lot trickier to get the gun on target. You would think, being a hover tank, that this thing drives quite smoothly and isn't that affected by terrain, but it bounces around on terrain a lot, it slews to the sides, and it's not very stable, which means aiming the body of the tank is often quite difficult. You'd think with a hover tank there would be pros and cons over a normal main battle tank, and you'd be kind of right. There are plenty of cons but no real pros. The only advantage that the hover tank has is that it can go over water. Everything else is a disadvantage in my opinion. The hover tank shares its loadout with a normal main battle tank, but because of its manoeuvrability I've had to change my loadout almost completely. So, HE shells that I usually use on a main battle tank have gone and have been replaced by AP shells. Because the gun on the Levkov is so hard to aim side to side, I don't want to have to worry about calculating the massive drop on the HE shells, so the AP shell is a more direct shell. The heavy machine gun has gone in favour of staff shells, because staff shells don't have to be as accurately fired. If you fire them somewhere near the target you want to get, then they will guide themselves in from above. And I've gone for this loadout for 2 reasons. The Levkov is less manoeuvrable, but it's also slower than the other tanks and APCs. It doesn't have a boost ability on it, so going into toe-to-toe combat with other tanks and APCs is a bad idea. What I tend to do with the Levkov is hide behind rocks, pillar it, use its sideways ability to peek out or shoot over rocks with the staff shell, and rely on getting kills that way. Another thing you have to do with a Levkov is repair it regularly. If you get immobilised, you are dead in the water, because immobilisation on a normal tank, well, that's not so bad, you can move your turret. On this tank you cannot turn, you can only go sideways or backwards and forwards. You lose the ability to turn if you get immobilised. Not being able to turn means you can't move your gun and you're dead in a fight. It did take me 4 or 5 rounds of experimenting with loadouts and how the tank moves to get any idea of how to get kills with this tank. With a normal tank you can adjust for the angle that the tank body is at with the turret, going side to side, up and down. You can't with a Levkov. the angle of the body directly affects where the gun is pointing. So, best thing to do, keep it on the flat and keep it to mid to long range. So I was using the staff shell at long ranges, the AP shell at medium ranges. The final thing that makes the Levkov really different from other tanks is quite a simple one. You can't look backwards. You can only look forwards in the direction your gun is facing. So this is a vehicle that really benefits from having a secondary gunner. Somebody on the machine gun to cover your back. Even if you have a heavy machine gun equipped, trying to turn the entire body of the tank to bring the heavy machine gun to somebody behind you just doesn't work. Now, as far as the assignment is concerned, time in the gunner's seat counts as time in the Levkov. So for this assignment, you can work in pairs. One of you is a gunner, one of you on the machine gun. And you can get vehicle destroys with the machine gun. I managed to take down this helicopter, and it does say that I got the kill with the Levkov, and so I get the vehicle destroy with the Levkov. The biggest advantage of having a machine gunner is being able to shoot and spot things that are behind you. Once I started to get the tactics right, hiding the Levkov, taking things out at long range, or at least softening them up at long range, so that when it gets up to a close-on combat with another tank, it's so damaged that you're bound to win. It's much easier for them to hit you than it is for you to hit them, but if you only need one shot and they still need 4 or 5 to take you out, you're gonna win. And while I wasn't getting as many kills as I would have done in a normal tank, the kills soon did start to rack up, and I got the majority of the kills in only 2 rounds, and that was simply by changing the tactics and changing from HE to AP, HMG to staff shell. And even though I don't have a HMG and this thing apparently hovers, well, you can still run people over with it. So that's your last defense option, just run them over. So this clip shows you the dangers of getting yourself immobilized. Now I'm immobilized, I can't swing the tank. I can move sideways, I can move forwards and backwards, but I can't turn the gun onto a target. So at this point, you just bail out. If you accept the hover tank's weaknesses and work around them, then you will get the vehicle destroys. A lot of the times you're going to have to get into a fight, take out the tank or an APC, and then run away and repair, because you're just not manoeuvrable enough to survive and dodge out of the way of a lot of the incoming damage. On Hammerhead you can be sneaky and wait for people to spawn in these helicopters. Or you can try and shoot down any of the helicopters flying around. Helicopters are a one-hit kill, so if you do get that shot in on a helicopter, there's an instant vehicle destroyed for you. And it's always very satisfying to take a helicopter down with a tank shell. Now in future I can see the Levkov getting a few buffs. It needs to be able to turn better and be more stable than it currently is. If you have to aim the whole body of the tank to aim the gun, then that movement has got to be better. And maybe it needs to do more damage than a standard main battle tank. Maybe make its gun more like the tank destroyers from Battlefield 3. But it's not that bad. You can work with it, it's just not as good as the main battle tank it's supposed to be replacing. It takes longer to get 15 vehicle destroys in the Levkov than it would in a standard main battle tank, but eventually you'll get them. That will unlock the Levkov dog tag and complete the hover tank Harbringer assignment. And at the end of the round it will show up in the assignments tab as complete. So we've got the shiny hover tank Harbringer assignment badge, and we've got the dog tag shown there. And if we go to the unlocks tab, the dog tag is also shown in there. So to recap, hover tank Harbringer is a final stand assignment. You must be rank 10 or above, you must own the final stand DLC, and you must have played on a final stand map. The HT95 Levkov only spawns on Hammerhead and Operation Whiteout, and to complete the assignment you must destroy 15 vehicles with the HT95, either as the tank driver or as the gunner, and you must spend 10 minutes in the HG95, either as the gunner or the driver. If you do both of those, then you will get the HG95 Levkov dog tag. Once you get used to the weaknesses of the Levkov, the assignment's quite fun. Hope this helps, and thanks for watching.